The Galactic Council had ruled the stars for over 50,000 years. They had conquered countless worlds, enslaved hundreds of species, and built an empire that stretched across 3 spiral arms of the Milky Way. Their technology was so advanced that most primitive civilizations saw them as gods. Their warships could destroy entire planets in minutes. Their soldiers were genetically enhanced to feel no fear and no mercy. Commander stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, watching the blue planet grow larger on his viewing screen. Earth. Such a small world, such a young species. The humans had only discovered space travel a few centuries ago, and their technology was laughably primitive compared to the Council's might. Commander, his second officer spoke with confusion in his voice. We are receiving a transmission from the Outer Rim Monitoring Station. Waved his hand dismissively. Play it. A holographic image appeared before them. It showed an ancient being, a species that had existed long before even the Council. They had disappeared millions of years ago, leaving behind only ruins and warnings scattered across the galaxy. The message was simple. To any who approach the third planet of the Sol system, turn back. Do not engage, do not land, do not make contact. The beings who dwell there are not what they appear. We learned this truth too late. The silence that follows will be eternal. Laughed. The sound echoed through the bridge and his officers joined in nervously. There were fools who believed in myths and magic. They feared shadows and disappeared because they were weak. We are the Council. We have never been defeated. He deleted the message and ordered his fleet forward. There were 200 warships under his command. Each one was capable of devastating a continent. Together, they represented enough firepower to crack a world in half. The humans had nothing that could stand against such power. As the fleet entered Earth's solar system, they passed by the outer planets. Jupiter, Saturn, the frozen worlds beyond. All quiet, all empty. Felt almost disappointed. He had hoped for some resistance, some excitement. Conquering a helpless species was barely worth his time. They received another warning as they passed Mars. This one came from a different source. A warrior species that the Council had destroyed 3,000 years ago. The message was recorded in their dying days. We came to Earth with 5,000 ships. We were the greatest warriors in the galaxy. We thought the humans would fall in days. We were wrong. Something lives on that world, something ancient, something hungry. Do not wake it. Do not. The message ended in static and screaming. His confidence flickered for just a moment. They had been formidable enemies. Their fall had taken centuries of warfare. But no, this was clearly propaganda. Perhaps the humans had found these old recordings and were broadcasting them to scare away invaders. Clever, but useless against the Council. Continue forward, he commanded. Launch reconnaissance drones. The drones shot ahead of the fleet, racing toward Earth at incredible speed. They would scan the planet, identify military targets, and map population centers for the invasion. Standard procedure for any conquest. The drones entered Earth's atmosphere and began their work. For exactly 47 seconds, everything proceeded normally. Data streamed back to the fleet. Images of cities, forests, oceans. The humans appeared to be going about their daily lives, unaware of their approaching doom. Then the feeds went dark, all of them, simultaneously. Technical malfunction, asked, though his voice had lost some of its certainty. Unknown, Commander, the drones simply stopped transmitting. No damage warnings, no interference signals, they just went silent. Ordered a second wave of drones. These were military-grade, hardened against any known form of attack or jamming. They entered the atmosphere and began transmitting. 47 seconds later, silence. A cold feeling began to spread through the commander's chest. He had conquered 43 worlds. He had never experienced anything like this, but he refused to show weakness in front of his crew. We proceed with the invasion. Launch the assault carriers. 20 massive carriers broke formation and descended toward Earth. Each one held 10,000 ground troops, along with tanks, artillery, and atmospheric fighters. They were the hammer that would crush human resistance. The carriers entered the atmosphere without incident. They began their descent toward the major population centers. Reports came in normally. The human military was scrambling, but their weapons were primitive. Missiles launched from the surface were easily deflected by shield technology. Then something changed. One of the carrier captains reported something strange. "Commander, we're detecting unusual energy readings from the surface. It's nothing in our database. The pattern is organic, but the power output is impossible. No biological creature could generate such." The transmission ended. One by one, the carriers went silent. No explosions were detected. No battles were recorded. The ship simply stopped responding. Watched his tactical display as 20 green dots representing his carriers turned red, then black, then disappeared entirely. "What is happening down there?" he demanded. "Get me visual confirmation." The main activated, showing a feed from one of the high-orbit satellites. They could see the planet's surface clearly, but the carriers were gone, not destroyed, not crashed, just gone, as if they had never existed. Fear finally broke through's pride. He had lost over 200,000 soldiers without a single shot being fired, without any sign of what had taken them. "Pull back the fleet," he ordered. "We need to reassess." "Commander," his sensor officer's voice cracked with terror. "Something is ascending from the planet, moving impossibly fast. It will reach our position in minutes." On the screen they saw it, a darkness rising from Earth. It had no clear shape, no defined edges. It simply existed as an absence of light, a hole in reality itself. And it was growing as it approached. Finally understood. The warnings had not been propaganda. The ancient species had not been telling myths. Something protected Earth. Something that had been sleeping for a very long time. "Full retreat," he screamed. "All ships, maximum speed, get us out of this system." The fleet turned and ran. 200 warships, representing the greatest military power in the galaxy, fled in blind terror from something they could not understand. Engine cores burned at maximum output. Space itself seemed to bend as the ships pushed their drives beyond safe limits. But the darkness was faster. The rearmost ships were the first to be taken. There were no weapons fire, no screams on the communication channels. The ships simply touched the edge of the darkness and ceased to exist. Thousands of lives, billions of credits worth of technology, centuries of accumulated knowledge, gone in an instant. Watched his fleet being consumed, ship by ship. Nothing they did mattered. Energy weapons passed through the darkness without effect. Missiles detonated harmlessly within it. The darkness simply continued forward, patient and inevitable. When only 10 ships remained, made a decision. He would not run. He would not die as a coward. He turned his flagship around and flew directly at the approaching void. "If you are going to destroy us," he transmitted on all frequencies, "then at least tell me what you are. Let the galaxy know what protects this miserable planet." The darkness stopped. For a long moment nothing happened. Then, impossibly, something answered. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. It filled his mind, bypassing his ears entirely. It was ancient, it was cold, and it was angry. "We are what your ancestors feared in the dark. We are what built the first stars and shaped the first life. We watched your species crawl from the mud and reach for the sky. We watched you choose conquest and cruelty. And we waited." "What are you?" whispered. "We are the Guardians. We seeded countless worlds with life, hopping to create something worthy. Most failed, most chose as you chose. Violence, domination, the strong consuming the weak. But the humans are different. They struggle against their own darkness. They create beauty from pain. They protect the helpless even when it costs them everything. They are primitives. They are hope. The first true hope we have found in 4 billion years, and you came to destroy them. The darkness began to move again, slowly, deliberately. We gave warnings. We always give warnings. Your ancestors, the council founders, received the same message. They were wise enough to turn back, but wisdom fades over generations. Pride grows, and eventually someone always comes to test the boundaries. Ship began to shake. Reality itself seemed to be tearing apart around him. What will you do to us? Nothing. We will simply remove you. You will not die. You will not suffer. You will simply never have existed. Your memories, your achievements, your entire species. Gone, as if you were never born. The council has trillions of citizens. You cannot. We can. We have done it before. The Dominion, the eternal empire of stars, all of them came here. All of them ignored the warnings, and all of them are now less than whispers. History does not remember them. The universe does not mourn them. Felt his mind beginning to fade. His memories slipped away like water through fingers. He tried to hold onto something, anything, but there was nothing left to hold. Please. The council will wake tomorrow with no memory of Earth, no records of this system, no desire to explore this region of space. The warnings will reset. The cycle will continue. Perhaps in another million years, someone else will be foolish enough to try. The last thing saw was the blue planet below. Earth, home of the humans who would never know how close they had come to destruction, home of the species that had earned the protection of gods. Then there was silence. On Earth, it was an ordinary Tuesday morning. People went to work, children went to school, and life continued as it always had. No one looked up at the sky and saw the fatting darkness. No one felt the ancient presence returning to its slumber beneath the mountains and oceans. But deep in the oldest parts of the planet, in caves that had never been touched by light, something settled back into sleep. Something that dreamed of the stars it had created and the children it still protected. The warnings remained active, broadcasting endlessly into space. Most species would hear them and turn back. Most would choose survival over curiosity. But there would always be another fleet, another proud commander, another test. And the Guardians would always be waiting. The end.